بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يقيم قسم هندسة تقنيات التكييف والتبريد في الكلية الإسلامية الجامعة في النجف الأشرف حلقة نقاشية بعنوان سولار انرجي، يلقيها الأستاذ احسان قحطان. تفضل.
السلام عليكم.
السلام.
راح ناخذ بعض السلايدات، بعض المواضيع حول السولار انرجي. اعتقد ما عندكم مشكلة اذا يعني بالمحاضرة باللغة الإنجليزية. Solar energy. The main important to know about solar energy, why we are using solar energy. Why something years before 2-3 years every country focus about the solar energy. Why every country, if you're going now, especially European, United States, in like India also, they focus about renewable energy source. Why? And if that resource is suitable for our country like Iraq, the problem in Europe, if you're going to study that, directly first material taken in the first semester was solar energy or renewable energy source. And if you know your professor, you're from Iraq, he say, why you are coming to study the renewable energy resource? You have a lot of oil, you have the fossil fuel. So our discussion, are the renewable energy source was important to our country? Are there is something important for this point to must we do it? Or we must nothing by what we have. What we have meaning the fossil fuel from oil or whatever. If you know or don't know, the Iraqi was the famous country in all the world. Especially we have the city we called, there are some students from it, it's called Al-Imara. Al-Imara was the most important country in all the world by something called the oil. The energy from the oil in all the world, Al-Imara was the first country, first city have this is fossil fuel. This is the first main question. The another question, why we are using? What is the side effect for it? Because for every energy we get it, for everything, there is some side effect for that using. Like for fossil fuel, there is some side effect, especially for environmental. When we speak about the environmental side effect, we not speak about the environmental according to the animals. No, we speak directly about healthy for the human. Directly, it is affected on us or not. And what is we can change it by it? What is we have it if we want to change that? And how much that affected in our? And we are feeling by it or not? This is the second important question. We must know it and answer about it. And why all the world following about solar energy? There is another renewable energy like wind energy, turbine energy, many things, sea energy, ocean energy. Why they following all us about solar energy, especially this 3-4 years? Before about, we can say 10 years, less than 10 years, especially in Arabic country, we don't hear about something about renewable energy, especially about solar energy. Why now? So because that we take this material, we discussion about this material. As you can see, in this slide, I speak something about coil. As we see, coil is a short supply for nuclear energy is both expensive and potential harmful for environmental. The solution could be the useful for renewable energy. What meaning for in this slide? You know about United States it is the best country and the poorest country in the world. But if you don't know, United States 70% from current, from electricity, depending on the coil. Also like China, whatever they arrive to the technology station, it will be increasing in development with the time. But 70% from them current until now, from United States, from China, depending on the coil. And now we depending on that, we call it old science. Why? Because the coil, have side effect very important. What's that side effect for coil? We needed a huge amount from coil to get a little energy, to get a little efficiency from current. And the second thing, we have the opposite from that. The highest technology we have it. it's represented by nuclear thing. Why we are not using it? If you ask in our country like Iraq, the nuclear thing was difficult to use it. We don't have this technology. In 1970, we start using it, but some country was bombing that things. So if we needed now to building that nuclear, need about 20 years, 30 years at minimum. And the most important from that, who will working on that manufacturing? It's not giving that technology in nuclear, no. Who will working, who have that efficiency to work in that place, in that station? And what the purpose from that station? If that station for nuclear, for just current, you must have high human being resource to work on that. So between that coil, the old thing, and nuclear thing, we have the word depending on the renewable energy. Second slide, this is a real picture for California station. This is station in California just presented the current energy for electricity. And this is real photo from it. The main advantage for it, for renewable energy and solar energy, running costs are low, no carbon dioxide emission added to the greenhouse effect, no sulfur dioxide emission in cases act on rain. What does mean in that? The raining cost, not producing cost. The producing needed a high technology, high things. But the running after producing it, after you put it, the running for it, it's needed, that means the maintenance for it. The maintenance for that thing needed a low cost because its efficiency directly needed for about 20 to 25 years to make that maintenance for it and replace it. And if you want to replace some solar energy, you need about 25 years. Because that they're using now, especially in a small application. And also in Iraq, we can find it, like the communication in highway in Basra, you can see it. The bridge for that communication, you will find solar energy source. Why they using that? Because the arriving, if that's been a problem in that bridge, the arriving for it, it's so difficult. So what they needed, something needed a low costly for maintenance and needed a long time to replace it. The best thing for it was solar, better from diesel engine. The second point from that, when you are using that solar energy, you are doing something important. The carbon in weather, you are reducing it. Because as you see, like especially in our country in Iraq, as you see, if our temperature increasing just 1 degree, it is the same thing if that temperature increasing in Russia 1 degree, it is the same effect. It is not the same effect. We have a lot of problem in that temperature. If it's increasing because that material, carbon dioxide and something like that, material affected on our weather, we have a lot of problem. But in Russia, if the weather decreasing 1 degree, they will be happy because the weather was already very cold. So that is because that we are, especially in Middle East, we're using solar energy because it's free. We have a lot from it. No one can control it. This by this slide. And this is real photo using, especially for rich men, using this pot and using some solar energy for moving it. And some batteries. And you know that charging battery in Iraq, our house, 90% from it, we have that battery to recharging it. And but we are not using solar energy, we're using the converter directly. Solar panel can be quickly upset to remoting area. Location communication can benefit of small scale and solar power. Can be used to change the batteries to provide electricity when we need. What mean in this slide? 3 points. The main first point, it's easy to remove it. If you put some panel for solar energy, and after 3 years, 5 years, this building that you are building that solar for it, it's already, the work on it, it's finished, or remove it to another place. If the depending electricity like on the solar energy, it's easy to remove that solar energy panel with it, and put it with another place that that building or that manufacturing going to it. And the second point, I speak about that communication. Actually, we're using, and you can see it in highway in our country, in Basra. If you're going to Basra, if you're going to Nasriya, you can see that communication using solar energy. Better from that, using what? They're using diesel engine. Diesel engine needed someone daily, 24-hour there, needed a lot of oil. So opposite from that, they're using more easy solar energy. And also, as you last point, they're using battery for charging, because as we know, solar energy give me AC or DC. They give DC. So when we wanted to changing to our home directly current, we needed AC, because that using battery and converter sometimes. This is using for cooking. And the real one using for cooking was a box. Its dimension about 40 centimeter by 20 centimeter, depending, or 6 centimeter by 20, 25, 30 centimeter. Have 3 layers, cover, bottom, and what we called it N type and B type. The disadvantage from that, we're retaining all that. The initial cost for producing, not the running, for producing was very high. Because this is, we called it until now, it's high technology. You cannot get it from anyone, especially the material that using. The second point, the output depending on our weather condition and any time on that's already like, if we put it solar energy, that energy we get it in the 8 o'clock a.m. The same energy we get it in 12 o'clock a.m. It's different. Whatever it will be in midday time, the energy that we get it will be more better, more higher, its efficiency more higher. So already the energy we get it from that solar, while we get it from that energy from sun, it's more better, more higher efficiency. So that reflected on our system by solar energy that we're using. And last point, many solar panels are needed to produce that a power station. What we say here, if I want to giving electricity for 30 building, 40 building, how much panel it's enough? How much cells it's enough? Until now, the main problem for solar energy and the technology for it was the size. Because if you wanted to giving and producing energy, that means just current, like for some building, you needed a large amount of area. That's what we say about this slide, especially this point, I speak about it. In this slide, as we see, this is photo represented almost all the world using the solar energy and how much every area using from it. Large area land needed, as we speak at last point before. If we need to get a lot of energy, a lot of electricity, must be specific about that. You need a large area, you need a large space to giving that solar energy place. The second point, when you needed to producing electricity by solar energy, you must choosing the place that you will put it or building solar energy on it. Like in our country, what will be better if you want to building solar station? It is better to put it in north or better to put it in south? Directly in south better. Why? Because the weather, the biomass for it, it's more better, more its quality to give it. If it's the quality for the weather better, that means the energy we get it from it more better, more higher. And last point we speak about in this slide, I speak about solar cell have a low efficiency. All of us now, we using solar energy, but until now, the highest technology, the best technology in all the world, whatever they're using, whatever the material they're changing, whatever the material they mixture, The material from solar energy just making about 30% using from solar sun. That means whatever it's reflected on that surface, the real we get it from that solar sun, from it, just 30%. Because the material they're using, the technology for this material, is still needed more improvement to get more better from that high, from that radiation. That's I mean by this point. And this is the real picture for Arizona using home because they're using not like our. This is very enough for them. This home, depending on solar energy, as you can see, it just pass. But he makes some changing on it, easy changing. And as we say, he using in Arizona in mobile home. Solar panel convert the solar energy electricity, solar energy to the electrical energy. Use solar cell for supplementary by using wind. Last point, in a new technical, what they do, they discover the solar cell, they cannot improvement more than 30% to get power. So what they do, they mixture, we called it hybrid. They mixture them by using like another renewable energy source, like wind turbine. Why wind turbine? Because for European, the weather for turbine work, wind turbine more better from us. But in our country, more better for us, the solar, because we don't have a lot of wind in our country, not like European. And the first country in that European, yes, and German are the most important, and the most country have the highest technology for them in both solar energy and wind energy. Global scenario for that. And first point, I'm giving some example for it. For the increasing and improvement for using for power solar energy. And in giving for 20 years, it's from 1980 to 1997. It's increasing from 26 megawatt to 127 megawatt. This is just in this between 2 years. This is the increasing in all the world. But you can see the difference. You can see the highest changing on that number from 26, just 26 megawatt to 127 megawatt in a few years. In percentage, it's high percentage. The second point, it's mean they thinking, they want, real they wishing, but it's difficult to do. In 2030, they will depending in get energy for current for homes just from solar energy. And last point, as we know, the research for any point in science, it will not stop or depending on anyone. So the researching, the development for this point, especially the material for make it will be development, it will be improvement. Especially for microchips and thin film cell. As you can see in this slide represented the power that we get it for electricity in megawatt and the country by years, the development, the increasing for it with the years. And you can see in 2000 and before, in all the country, this is 1,000 megawatt, just for this point. This is 1,000 megawatt. In 2010, the producing by 1,000 megawatt was increasing. As we can see, in Japanese, less than 20,000 megawatt. in 2010. And in European, less than mean here, less than 10 megawatt for European. And all the world also not arrived 20,000 megawatt. But the increasing in 2020, this is depending on reporting for the country. This is for national country report. In 2020, as you can see, the Japanese were increasing the producing it to arriving to 40,000 megawatt. And European is still and just arrived at 20,000 megawatt. That means this is depending about what is the nationality, how much paid the money for this research, how much they paid for the money for researcher to improve that, how much they paid for building the station for these things. This is according how much the government paid to improve that. And as we can see in 2030, still the Japanese the highest one in producing for purpose current electricity. They producing, they arrive, they trying, because in actually it just from solar energy in Japanese is difficult because it's needed a large space, but they needed, they're using 90% for a small application. They have a lot of small application for it. So they arrived less than 80,000 megawatt. Sorry. And as you see, the United States and European less than 4,000 megawatt. And this is about what we speak. This is a real report. I take it, a new one, from this Industrial Trust, EPI we call it, for photovoltaic European report, real report. They speaking about the improvement for solar energy, the improvement for renewable energy, and how much they was thinking that improvement will be there. So they say in this report, international report for all the world, by them specification, they say by 2020 the global solar output could be 276 terawatt by hour, which would be equal 30% from African energy needed, or 1% of global domain. This would replace the output for 75. This is important note. What they say in 2020, they will replace about 25 stations they producing already now current, but they depending 90% from this 25 station, they producing power from coal. They will changing by solar energy. This is the most important point in this report. And the global solar infrastructure with investment volume 75 billion by year, yearly. By 2040, global solar output could be 930 terawatt by hour, or 26% for expected global domain. This is most important because what he say the investment about by every year $75 million. It's a huge number for investment in anything, especially in new thing like solar energy. And thank you.